Hello guys, it's Korah here, and welcome back to another episode of Korah Guides. Today I'm going to be going over the new Polish TD line. I'm going to be focusing mainly on a tier 10 and a tier 9, although the entire TD line plays exactly the same way. So everything I'm going to tell you in this video is going to be tips and tricks, as well as with the replays to back it up. I'm going to have everything timestamped, so I'm going to have like an intro where I have like the tips and tricks, of course, and just my general loadout and my like how to play it. And I'm going to have like the replays as well timestamped. So if you guys want to skip over through that, you can do that as well. However, I recommend you guys watching the entire video. I'll make sure I highlight some very important things that you guys will probably find useful for you whenever you start grinding this thing and playing it. But real quick before we get into the video, please make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And as well, I do have a big giveaway going on. So it's going to end September 1st. If you guys want to win some free tier 10 tanks of your choice, as well as some gold, make sure you check that video out. I'm going to have it linked in the description. There's only a couple days left. The giveaway is going to end September 1st, so this is kind of like your last chance to enter. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. And also, make sure you guys smash the like button if you haven't already. Would greatly appreciate that. But yeah, let's get straight into the video here. So this is basically, it is very cool looking tank. It is a Polish TD, as of new mechanic as well. Now, if we take a look at the mechanic, it is called Assault Shells. Basically what it does, you do more damage the closer range you are. Now, the highest amount, like the damage multiplier, the highest you can get is 140% at 50 meters or less. Now, to play this tank, there's a very key word that you must know and learn. It is patience. Like, you guys know when like Master Yoda's like talking to like Luke in Star Wars and he's like, "Patience, my young Padawan." Like, yeah, you need a lot of patience for this tank, and the reason you need patience is because a lot of people are going to be very tempted to be like, "Oh yeah, let's go in, let's get close the distance, make it 50 meters less so we can get the most damage possible." And you know, yeah, that's a mistake. Don't do that. You need to play, like, again, when you take a look at this tank, it is a classic tank destroyer. It is a turretless tank destroyer with no consumable to help you survive longer. This tank has no reactive or anything like that, so you will die very, very quickly. Like, you know, if you play aggressive early on, you get focused immediately and you will die. So you cannot play this tank as aggressive as it seems to encourage you to play. You have to have a lot of patience, and the patience comes from, again, those, like, you're going to be shooting like low alpha shots from like longer ranges of distance. Like, you're going to hit a lot of 400 to 300 shots even sometimes if you low roll. You know, so you have to be patient and just take those shots and accept the fact that you're not going to do a lot of damage until the end of the game. Now, how I like to play this tank is, first of all, this tank does very well in isolated 1v1 situations. If you can fight somebody 1v1 on your own terms while you're healthy, you will absolutely destroy them with your DPM. The problem is making it a 1v1 in the first place. So when it's the beginning of the game, it's 7 versus 7. A lot of times you're not going to find an isolated 1v1 to take. So when you have multiple enemies in front of you, you have to be very passive. You have to take a very passive approach. So you have to play like a classic TD in the back of the map, kind of, not really back of the map, but like behind your TD, your heavies and stuff. You cannot like take early fights early on, you know? And then you have to kind of play it a little slow initially until the game reaches a point where it's like a 4v4 or a 3v3. At that point, then you can be a lot more aggressive, and that's when this tank really shines, is at the end game, the late game. If you have your HP and you play this tank correctly, the late game you can do a lot of damage in. Now, there is one slight drawback to that, but it's a drawback regardless. First of all, this tank is very team dependent. If you have a horrible team, and you have to carry the game yourself, yeah, you are screwed basically. And it kind of looks like that, you know. Look at the barrel. Even the barrel looks like a screw. Yeah, so you are basically completely screwed if you have a bad team, or if you have like a bad map as well. To be fair, this tank is very map dependent as well. It does well on close range maps, of course. Long range maps like Canal and Castilla, you're gonna kind of struggle, to be honest. Long range damage, you're not going to do much damage long range, and you can't really be aggressive in those maps either, because you, like I said, you're going to be instantly killed early on, so you have to be very careful and stuff. But with that in mind, I'm going to go over real quick the loadout that I'm using for this tank. So I'm using double repair kit and adrenaline. No need for the speed boost at all, in my opinion. And then moving on to the provisions, I'm actually using double food as well as fuel. So basically, the double food will actually help you with your DPM a little bit, as well as your turn rate. Now, again, this tank is a turretless TD. There's no point for me, in my opinion, to run protective kit, because you have double repair kit anyways, and at the same time, the way you should be playing this tank is not to take hits early on. You have to play it pretty passive. So it's not like you can take a bunch of hits like with like a reactive tank, and then you have to like repair your crew and stuff. If you take the hits to like kill your crew, then your tank is basically dead anyways by HP. Like, you're not going to survive much. One thing as well to keep in mind about this tank, I didn't really mention it earlier, but if you take a look at it, this tank has 12-kilometer reverse speed. This reverse speed is really bad, and it's going to get you killed multiple times. Like, if you end up in a situation where you have to back out, you are going to die. You cannot escape bad situations very easily. You're basically stuck wherever you go. So just keep in mind, never commit to a fight that you're not going to win. But that's about it. So going back to our provisions here, there's no point to run protective kit. Just run double food and fuel. That's the most logical provision to run. Now, taking a look at the ammo real quick, this tank does shoot APCR standard and premium. Now, APCR as a shell is just trash. There's nothing to say. Like, there's no good thing about APCR. You will bounce a lot of shots that you should pen, to be fair. It is just one of those shells that, like, no matter how gray something is, if there's like a slight angle that you accidentally hit, it's just going to bounce sometimes. It's going to troll you. It's just the way the tank is, like the shell is, at least. You know? Now, the only slightly good thing about the APCR premium, at least, is the fact it has highly, like, really high pen. It's 356 to 394 APCR pen, which basically you'll pen everything in the game with that amount of penetration. But the thing is, the key is you have to aim very well. Again, you have to avoid any angled like spots or whatever. Those are going to bounce. Like, they're gonna troll you. Even if it's like a light tank with like an angled, like I don't know, turret or something, you will just bounce it sometimes. It just trolls you like that. So try to aim at flat spots. You will basically overmatch everything just by your pure penetration. You just need to have like the aim it pretty well. That's about it. Now, one other thing as well to keep in mind for the shells here is both APCR premium and standard are affected by the damage multiplier by distance. So the HE shell, though, however, is not affected by this multiplier. So if you're at close range, if you're less than 50 meters to somebody and you're fighting them, in my opinion, there's no point to really shoot HE because it's going to do almost the same damage as if you shot APCR standard at close range. So the HE is kind of only useful, in my opinion, at like a long range of distance where, like, you know, you can still do 800 damage at long range if somebody's giving you like the back of their tank or something. But of course, it's going to be kind of rare for you to have that situation. So overall, HE is not really like highly useful in my opinion about this tank. Now, moving on to my equipment, I'm actually just one of the few tanks I'm running rammer on. The reason I'm not running calibrated is because I have APCR as my premium and my standard. And APCR here, you can see, only does 5% boost for APCR shells with calibrated. So it's not really worth it. There's nothing you're going to be able to pen that you weren't able to pen before. So just run the extra, the DPM setup. Just run the rammer, in my opinion. And that's that. Now, moving on, we have defense system and a camo net. Now, real quick about the camo net. This is a tank destroyer. However, the camo on it, it's like middle of the pack. It's not like an amazing camo for a tank destroyer, but it's not like the worst camo either. It just sits in the middle. So either way, you should still be running camo net. It's a tank destroyer and you need the camo. It will help you rotate and stuff unspotted, so it's very useful. Now, next thing I have is supercharge and then improved assembly. Now, the reason I'm running improved assembly for the extra HP and I'm not running armor is the fact that this tank has like pretty massive weak spots that are easy to pen anyways. So there's no point to really run armor if like your lower plate is easy to pen, and as well you have a lot of cupolas that are very easy to pen. I didn't actually go over this, but if you take a look at this tank, you see there's like two cupolas here, like two viewports. You can pen both of those with Hesh even. Like, that's how weak they are. So this tank, like, yeah, it has a lot of armor technically, but at the same time the weak spots are so like bad that like this thing, like, there's no point to run armor on it. People are just going to shoot your weak spots the whole time. Nobody's really going to try to pen your superstructure. Just going to shoot your lower plate or your cupola if they can't see your lower plate. It is just the way it is. But that's just something to keep in mind. So with that in mind, I'm running the improved assembly, the extra HP. And then the most important one I would say is the improved control. Now, like I said, this is a turretless TD. You will have to turn a lot, and having extra turn rate is going to help you a lot in so many situations. So I highly recommend you guys run improved control for your equipment. Probably like the most important one in my opinion. Moving on from that though, we have refined gun, toolbox, and consumable delivery system. All of those are pretty standard, nothing too special there. So real quick, again, just to go over the weak spots, like I said, cupolas are a massive weak spot as well as the lower plate. And if you take a look at the gun on this tank, the gun is basically in the direct middle of the tank. Now, this tank is actually pretty short, to be fair. So a lot of situations where you're trying to play behind cover, like an object or something, like I think even on Yukon, like, you know, like the middle of the encounter cap on Yukon, you're not even tall enough to shoot over top of that with where like the gun is basically. So you have to keep that in mind. It's a short tank and the gun's like in the middle of the tank. As well, like, there's no angle you can like have an advantage peeking from. The gun is basically directly in the middle of the tank, so peeking from right is not going to like in some tank destroyers you have the gun on the right side of the tank, and so like if you peek on the right, it kind of like decreases the amount of armor or amount of, like, you know, tank that you're showing. But this tank doesn't really do that. So this is another reason why you have to play this thing pretty like second line. You can't really be too aggressive with it. There's no way for you to kind of like hide your lower plate, to be honest, without being able to shoot your enemy, you know. You're always gonna, like, to be able to shoot somebody, you're gonna have to expose part of your lower plate unless you're hull down. But if you're hull down, they can just shoot your cupola if you're staying still for too long. So you have to wiggle quite a bit with this tank to make sure you don't get a cupola shot. That's about it though. In terms of the tank, the tank's gun arc is actually pretty decent. It has 6 degrees gun depression, it has 10 degrees gun arc left and right. So for the most part, you're not going to really struggle too much. The gun is pretty forgiving when it comes to like trying to get a shot off. You're not going to have to turn your whole tank all the time, which is pretty nice actually. But without further ado, let's get right into the replays. I'm going to show you guys the tier 10 replay first, and then we'll go over the tier 9 one. So real quick, we have a nice replay here on Dynasty's Peril with the tier 10. Now, as I mentioned again, this tank does pretty well in like close range maps, and Dynasty is definitely one of those maps. It will do quite well in Dynasty. A long range map like Canal or Castilla, for example, is going to suffer a little bit because, like I said, there's no easy way for you to take a 1v1 that's going to be close range. You have to like drive a very long amount of distance to do that, you know. But if we take a look at the enemy lineup right away here in this game, we see that they have a grill and double 183. Now, those 3 tank destroyers that they have are quite bad tank destroyers for going on the medium side of the map, which is a C cap. Because there's no way for them to like kind of be hauled down, and there's no way for them to like be unspotted or anything like that. It is a small map, like I said. So because of that, I'm going to go towards C. I'm pretty confident about going towards C, even though like if you look at the minimap, half of my team is going towards A actually, but I'm pretty confident that C is going to be an easy win here. Now, real quick, our light tank does spot 2 of the tank destroyers going towards the C side here. The double 183s are both spotted, which is good info for me. This is going to allow me to take a wide angle here. So I'm going to go all the way to the right, which again, it's going to be longer distance, so I'm going to be doing lower damage, but it's going to be better for me overall, and I'll show you why. So real quick, we run into 752 here. It is kind of an isolated fight here, so I am able to peek him. We do get the bounce there, so very nice. And then I'm going to try to bait him with my track here, see if I can shoot my track. He does. Tracking, no damage. Very nice bait there. And we get another shot instead of 498. So this is medium range damage. It's not like the highest amount of damage. You know, we still shot him for like 1,000, which is nice. But of course, 700 is what we're looking for. But like I said, this is where the patience comes in. You have to kind of take a bunch of those like 400, even 300 alpha shots, and just accept that, you know, that's the most amount of damage you're going to be able to deal. Now here, we take a nice hull down position. We're aiming at the grill. To be fair, we should have probably shot HE at the grill there because it's a longer range shot. We would have done more damage with the HE, but it's all good. No worries, but just saying it is a slightly missed opportunity on my end here. Now, though, we are fighting the 183. We do bait him to miss us. He does try to shoot our cupola. He does miss, which is a very good situation for us. And now we're going to try to focus him out with our very good DPM. Now, he is kind of like long range, so again, you got to take the lower alpha shot. 530, it's not too bad at all, but it's not like a high damage shot either. So all is good right now, and we're in a very good position, and you can see the enemies can't really pen us actually where we are. Now I'm going to aim for the 752 instead of the grill actually, because the grill I think is dead anyways, but I can see the 752 is trying to rotate, and you can see again 382. This is again patience. I'm playing this very patient. Most people would be like YOLOing and trying to get close range and do more damage here. Here I'm just taking my time farming at a long range of distance. I'm kind of trying to bait this 260 here to take a 1v1 with me at close range of distance, which he is trying to slowly bleed me, but he's playing it pretty well. He's not really giving me an easy like 1v1 fight. Now we're going to try to move up, see if we can get a kill here. We do get the kill. I'm going to try to go forward here just to avoid the 260 as well as the TDs that are kind of aiming at me. And so far it looks good. Now I'm trying to take a 1v1 at the 260 here. Like this is at a point in the game where I'm pretty sure we're going to win this game, so I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive here. However, the 260 is playing it pretty well. He is kind of like avoiding me as much as he can. However, he doesn't avoid me enough, and he does kind of overextend here, and I will get a nice shot into him. So we aim at his lower plate, and a nice 736 roll there. This is where the damage starts stacking up. You can see we've done 4.4k damage so far, but this is going to stack up very quick here near the end of the game. Now, trying to be a bit more aggressive, like I said, this game is basically over. I know both the tanks on the right side here are going to die. I'm going to try to head for the Emil here. He has like the most HP. However, I do see the 260 kind of heading towards me, so I'm going to make sure I kill him first, and I'm going to head for the Emil after that. We do get a nice kill into him. And now we're going to head towards the Emil, try to close the distance so we can kind of increase our damage output a little bit. We are there we go, a little 600 alpha there, so it's not like the highest damage, but it's not too bad either. And now we can see he's actually trying to clip us, so we have to kind of hide our like lower plate and try to aim for his turret. We do load the premium PCR, which like I said has insane amount of penetration. It's no problem at all to pen through his turret. It was an easy kill for us. So real quick, our first game here in the tier 10 is actually pretty solid. We do get around 5.7k damage, very nice. We got 1.2k damage blocks. So like I said, as long as you don't like be the center of attention, you're not getting like shot the entire time, you do very well with this tank. And we saw we were very patient in this tank. So very nice. We got the mastery as well, 5.7k. All is good. Very nice first game there. Now, the next game I'm going to show you is going to be a little different. It is going to be a game in the tier 9. So real quick, we're going to go ahead and pull that up for you guys. It's going to be on Laguna actually. Now again, like I said, this tank is very like map dependent, and Laguna is a good map kind of for us. It's not too long range, it's not too close range. It's not as good as Dynasty, for example, but it's still a pretty close range map if you go towards the heavy side, which is exactly where we're going to go. So real quick, we take a look at the enemy lineup here. They pay attention to what they have. First of all, we do have a tier 8 down tier, so it's actually good for us. We are playing the tier 9, but they do have 2 of the Polish TDs as tier 9s on the enemy team. Now, those are pretty dangerous tanks. I'm going to have to keep in mind about that as well. So we don't really want to dive into a fight right away, But you'll see in this game what I end up doing and why I say patience is very important. You'll see exactly why patience makes a big difference in this game. So real quick, we see that our heavies are going towards A, which is good. We want them to go towards A. We're going to go towards A ourselves. However, we're going to kind of repeat what we did on Dynasty. So on Dynasty, I went all the way to the red line. I played the edge of the map. I did not try to take like the middle or anything. This tank sucks in like the middle of the map. It really is, because it gets killed very easily if you get surrounded from multiple angles. So I'm going to try to make sure I go red line here on the left side of the map. Make sure that I'm not being shot from like behind me or the side or whatever. I'm gonna only try to be like facing one angle and that one angle only. That's where like a tank like this will shine the most. So real quick, we're trying to take some map positioning here. We do see immediately that the Polish TD is there to tier 9, as well as a 112 glacial, which is a tier 8 Chinese heavy basically. Now you can see what I'm going to do to this Polish TD here. We get a nice shot into him, 648, which is a big shot, and you can see the mistake that this guy is making. This guy is going to die instantly, and I'll show you exactly why. Look at the reverse speed. He cannot get out of a bad situation. He just died. He did one shot and died. That is what happens if you guys don't play this tank with patience. That is why I say patience is key here. It's the most important like trait of this tank, is to play with patience, or else you'll end up like that guy on the enemy team there, where he just straight up died. Now here we have a very good advantageous situation. We have a 1v1. That's exactly what we want. Nice 1v1 where it's an isolated 1v1 where the enemy can't do anything, and we do get the MRAC for what, 700 damage. It was a very nice max roll as well. And real quick in the game here, we're at 2.4k damage within the first basically minute and a half. So very, very well played at so far. And you can see again how patience pays off, and that enemy TD there was not patient, and that's why he died so quick. The tank has a lot of weak spots. You can see I even shot his like the cupola that I was mentioning. Like I said, his tank is not as strong as it looks. You know, it has armor and everything, but it dies very quick. Now we're gonna go straight for the convoy here. Now at this point of the game, it is a 6 versus 4, so I'm pretty confident that we're going to win this game. So I'm just being a lot aggressive here, trying to get the kill on the convoy. We do take a big 678 alpha shot, which to be fair, in hindsight, I probably should not have taken. I should have just like let one of my teammates kill this guy, to be honest. I would have been able to farm a little bit more damage that way, but it is what it is. We do take the shot. It is what it, like, you know, it's whatever. We're going to try to head straight towards like the rest of the heavies here. Now, I think they do have a pretty healthy heavies. I think that the M103 should be like around full HP, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there he is. You can see he's full HP on the right side there. So we're going to focus him first. That's like our target. That's where we're going to get most of our damage. However, because we did take that shot from the convoy, we are a 2-shot for him, so we have to be a little bit careful here. But we're going to go in. Again, the closer range we are, the better it is for us. However, you can see in this situation here, this fight here that I'm about to take, how this guy straight up just focuses me right away, which is good on his part. That's what you should do. You guys need to focus a tank that's like pace hugging with 4k DPM. Basically, you can't just like watch me kill him for no reason. So this guy's gonna actually like really try to shoot me and try to kill me here. Now I'm gonna back up to try to make it a little bit hard for him, and he is just focusing me. He's not even trying to survive at this point. He's just trying to kill me, which gets him killed. It's a mistake on his part. He should have probably backed off. Could have done like 1 or 2 more shots of damage if he did. But you can see how insane the DPM is at close range, and like our damage just went up to 5k. We've done 5k damage so far in a pretty like short battle. Now the last tank left alive here is a Chrysler, which is full HP. Now of course, if I was a 1-shot for him, I'd love to be a bit more aggressive on him. However, I'm gonna have to kind of use my teammates here to take the first shot for me, so I can get the last shot and kill him. Otherwise I'm gonna die to him if I peek him, you know, without him being like on reload essentially. So I'm gonna move up to him here, try to use our Type 68 here to take the shot for us. Hopefully he does take the shot. He does shoot. We just saw the Chrysler shoot there, so it's gonna be our time to peek him. We're gonna take a nice wide peek, aim at his like lower plate there, and close range of distance. We do get a nice high roll and we kill him. So 547 damage. Very nice game. And we've done 5.6k damage this game with the tier 9 TD. Like I said, tier for tier, to be fair, both tanks are amazing. I do get a mastery as well for this, I believe. Yeah, mastery, there we go. We got 4 kills, and like this is such a good tank, to be honest, in situations like this. But like I said, patience is key, and there is going to be a lot of situations where if your team is too passive or something, or you have a pretty bad team, or you know, like you're too aggressive, you're just going to get punished very hard, and it's very hard for you to carry games. We were able to carry this game because the enemy team made a bit of a mistake. They gave me a 1v1 that I was looking for, and like I said, I was patient early game, but I wasn't that patient. The second I had the 1v1, I jumped on that glacial. I took the 1v1 to his face. I did not care. That's what you got to do with this tank. That's how you capitalize. Like, look at the glacial. He did 0 damage basically. He could not do anything. Instantly died the second I started focusing him. Enemy TD as well instantly died. Did 1 shot of damage for 497. Just died like really quick. You know, so that is something you have to keep in mind. A very good lesson for you guys. But yeah, that's basically my review of the tank. Now, if you want to just, if you guys are wondering if this tank is worth it, in my opinion, I think it's actually not that good of a tank. Now, this tank is good in a lot of situations, but very, very, very team dependent. And when I was playing like this tank, I think I had like 60% win rate in it, which is like not the highest win rate that I'm used to having, you know. It's very hard to win games in this tank. It is a nice damage farming tank. Like you can get some like really high damage games with it, but it's very hard to like consistently get good games and so you're going to suffer quite a bit. So that is basically my review for the tank. Now, both tanks are like the tier 9 and the tier 10 are like literally the same thing. Tier for tier though, I would say actually the tier 9 is stronger than tier 10 in my opinion. The tier 9 just has like those tier 8 down tiers that you saw there. You really can punish people a lot more with your DPM. And I think it's just better tier for tier. Tier 10 you get punished a lot more. It's a lot more like people that are gonna know your weak spots and stuff like that in tier 10. So that's just my kind of opinion. But overall, both tanks are very good. Highly recommend both of you guys to like both tanks are pretty fun to play. Highly recommend you guys to play them. But that is the end of my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that, as well as one more shout out for the giveaway. Make sure you guys join for my giveaway. Again, it's going to end in a couple days. If you guys want to win a couple free tier 10 tanks, make sure you do so. And make sure you guys smash the like button as well. Would greatly appreciate it. But hopefully you guys found my guide very useful. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.